Welcome to Kick-Ass Runners. Today, we are talking with one of the most kick-ass runners, who also happens to be one of my lady pals, Miss Susie Chan! Susie Chan, where are you joining us from?
I'm joining you from the south of England, just south of London, a place called Farnham.
Susie Chan, what makes you so totally and completely badass?
I like to run a very, very long way. I like to run. I'll run anything. I've run races from 1 mile to 100 miles non-stop, and I particularly like to run ultra marathons, which are day after day. So, like in a week, I'll run 5 times in the week, and over a marathon distance.
Just for fun.
For fun, yeah, for fun. Running's always for fun. And it can take me to really lovely, beautiful places. So I like to run in sort of nice places and a long, long way.
Oh my God! So let's rewind. You and I met when we ran the Berlin Marathon last year. And
good weekend.
Susie and I met and immediately knew that we were going to be partners in crime. But you're very much like an average human being.
Yeah,
who just happens to be a great runner.
I just like to run. And like everybody, some days you have good days. Berlin Marathon was a good day. I was in a really good mood. The weather was good. It was perfect. And other days it's a bit harder, but I just like to run.
So how long have you been running?
Not long. I started when I was 35 years old. I was smoking. I was drinking too much, and all of those things which were really bad for me. And I was having probably an early midlife crisis, and I decided it was quite hard to stay thin, all of those things, and so I thought, maybe I should try and keep fit. And it's always a chore. I can vividly remember my first run. I ran around like a field near where I worked. It was like maybe the size of 2 football pitches. And I thought I was, I nailed it. And I was broken, and it was, it's how it started. And always when you start, the first few months, it's a chore. Yeah. And then just one day, it's easier, it's fun, and you enjoy it, and you come back and you feel good, you feel really good, and you're like, I want to do that again. And so I started with a half marathon, so I started training for a half marathon. I didn't go very far in my training, maybe about 7 miles. It was not good. And I was training on the road for the half marathon, and it turned out to be a trail half marathon with lots of mud and through fields, and I didn't have proper trainers, I didn't have a running watch. I didn't know, I had an underwire bra on, I didn't know what I was doing. So that was maybe 5 years ago. Aww. And you know what happens when you do your first race. You cross the finish line, you think you are invincible, and you're like, I'm amazing, I couldn't walk down a step the next day, but I was like, and then you just book in for another one, don't you? And then marathon, and then for me it just carried on, and I just wanted to know what I could push myself next, because I was so surprised that I could run a half marathon. I couldn't believe I'd run 13 miles. It was just amazing, what a thing to do, what an achievement.
So to rewind, how did you get the brilliant idea to try to run for 12 hours on a treadmill?
I was taking part in some research at a university. There's a guy there studying ultra runners, and he didn't have many female ultra runners as part of his research. And he was looking into the physiology of ultra runners, how their mind works when they're running, and part of this research was to do an experiment running on a treadmill for 50 miles. So I was the first girl to have a go. I did it a week after I did an Ironman, so I wasn't, I don't know, I didn't have time to think about it because I was too busy thinking about how to cycle and swim, blah, blah, blah. So I got on the treadmill, ran 50 miles, and got off the treadmill, and it was all right. I didn't feel too bad. And then I did it in quite a good time, and somebody pointed out to me that if I carried on running, I would have broken a world record. So I'm 40 years old. You don't get the opportunity to break a world record very often, and I decided, I looked at the world record for 12 hours on a treadmill, and I thought, yeah, I could break that. I'm gonna give it a go. So go with the university. We set it up to give it a go.
Does your record still stand?
I don't know. So a lady, American lady, so what happened was it went wide. The newspaper went I was surprised at how many people were that engaged and interested with it, and it went over. The news of it went over to Runners World US. As soon as it did that, I was like, oh, I'm going down, because I knew I didn't run as far as I could have done or as far as I wanted to. And as soon as that happened, I thought, oh, somebody's going to take this from me. But to apply for Guinness, it's a long process. It takes 3 months, and then maybe about 5 weeks afterwards, a girl had to go, and she ran further than me. And so both of our applications are in. I think she's going to get it, to be honest with you. She'd already applied for it before, didn't do anything about it, and said when she read what I'd done, she was like, I'm going to give it a go. Her name's Susie too, though, so, you know.
What?
No, well, fair play to her, though, because it's tough.
Of course.
It's actually mentally tough, so, you know, and you've got to have a world record to have it taken away from you, so, you know.
Do you still get a plaque? Because, I mean, if you get it, like, you still had it for a hot minute.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I might ask Guinness, because I want something for my wall.
You should. Okay, let's talk about it. So, walk me through what it's like to, because I can't even run 2 miles on a treadmill, Susie. It's literally the reason I moved to the West Coast.
They're horrible. They're so boring.
They're the worst.
Yeah, they're awful. And so I didn't practice running on a treadmill. I just went for it. And I mean, you know, so I ran 50 miles once, and it was enough, and I felt fine in that. But everything that went wrong for me happened after the 50 miles. I got very sick. I got motion sickness from looking at a wall, which wasn't too far away, which probably wasn't the best positioning for the treadmill.
Yeah, you should have been in a field.
Yeah, exactly. An outside field with some beautiful scenery rushing past me. Yeah, that would have been better. So that wasn't great, but you know, it was mentally very tough, because I had the first time ever. It's not like a race where it's very black and white. If you're not feeling good in the race, you just don't do so well in the race. You know, it was very black and white. I was either going to do the world record or I wasn't, and so. The pressure was mounting on the day. Yeah, they made this like a bit of a show. But tons of people reached out to you, like Paula Radcliffe reached out. Yes, she sent me. She was sending me messages, and it was. She sent me a message at exactly the right time, because I was sort of on the Facebook, because I had lots of cameras on me and it was streaming, and I was like, and actually inside I was like, I can't do this. This is horrible. So I was kind of putting up a front, and it was starting to unravel a little bit. And I think, you know, if you watch it, there's times when I just look very. Can't do this. And so her message came at exactly the right time. You know, when Paula Radcliffe is watching you, you've got to look good, haven't you? Yeah, you've got to look good. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Paula Radcliffe is watching. You know, she's sending me support, and it was really motivating. I was getting messages all over the place, and it was really, really motivating. Really motivating. My first question, it was literally like right after you got off, and I remember I was texting you, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. And then I asked you, how many calories did you just burn? Yeah, that was your first question. I don't know. I think I had my like VO2 max tested, and I can remember being really disappointed at how many calories I burned per mile. It's something like 68 calories a mile. No. Yeah. Or 70, something like that. It's quite low. I thought it was 100. I don't know.
I don't want to get mine tested then.
Definitely ate a lot less than I probably should have done. I was eating jam donuts and pizza and milkshakes.
No, you weren't. During your attempt?
Yeah.
Because that was one of the questions we got. I asked everyone, I told them I was going to talk to you, and I said, you know, like, what questions do you have? And someone asked, how do you fuel for that? So you don't do energy gels or anything? You eat real food? And by real food, I mean pizza and...
Yeah. Yeah, so I had recovery shakes and had electrolytes, which are very important, but it's real food. You can't, for ultramarathons, you need real food because, you know, it's hard. And it's 12 hours in a normal day. You're not just, if you just had gels for 12 hours, you're going to have a problem.
Nothing.
So it was real food, but the problem I have when I run a long way is that actually in my stomach I don't want to eat, and so I had a lot of choices. I had a buffet of food to choose from, and most of it is very high calorie, high fats, high energy food, which you can eat. One mouthful is a lot of calories, so you know, a jam donut I can eat two mouthfuls, pizza, things like sweets, crisps, that sort of thing. Pretty much junk food.
What was the hardest part or the hardest moment of those 12 hours?
About a mile. I was struggling from physically. I was struggling from about mile 45 because I still had a long way to go, and I was having stomach trouble, and I was feeling sick, and I still had a long way to go, and I was on target, and then somewhere around 50 miles, because I was on schedule to run over 70, maybe about 72 miles, 73, that sort of thing, and I was on a schedule to do that up until about 51 miles, and then I started to struggle, and so it became very mentally tough because I was, rather than having a goal to beat, I was actually beginning to race against the clock because I was losing time, and so I had to keep a pace, and it was mentally very tough. So, like with any race, about 2/3 of the way through, and you still have a lot to do and a long way to go. It was tough, and I actually thought once I got past the record that existed, I'd pick up again. Because I tend to do that in races. I tend to be deep really badly, and then when I get near the end, actually, you feel physically okay, and I can normally pick up. I was gone. I was absolutely gone. I couldn't walk another step when I got off it. It was so hard. My head. I think it's because I was struggling with my head for a lot of it, and when your head goes in a race, it's half the battle. The battle is double. Because there was nothing to distract me. I was obsessed with my knee hurting and my leg hurts and my stomach's not good, and there's nothing, there's no other stimulus. It's just me. It's just me to focus on. With lots of people watching me, it was very tough.
Yeah, someone else asked if you binge watched any TV shows.
No, I didn't actually, because it made me feel sick. We had a big screen in front of me, and on it I had all social media and messages and things coming in, and people were reading, and I was reading them, and people were sending me like memes and funny gifs and sort of videos and things. So we were watching those. So it was all sort of changing, but I didn't watch a whole box set or something because I had to focus a lot on what I was doing. For Guinness, the rules they said, I wasn't allowed to touch the treadmill. If I fell over, I'd be disqualified. All these things. So actually, it was quite exhausting. I had to sort of be a little bit focused on what was around me, which was quite hard because when you're running a long way, you kind of zone out or whatever, and then you've done 10 miles, and I couldn't have that. It was constant. I was constantly aware of the fact that I was running, which was exhausting mentally.
What was your average pace?
I think I was doing just over 10-minute miles, but the difficulty was maybe 10. I can't remember, 10, 15, something like that. The difficulty was when you are running outside, even in like a mile, your pace actually in that mile you will slow down, speed up. You won't be locked in. So for the treadmill, I was locked into a pace, and for the whole 12 hours, my pace had deviated by something like 35 seconds per mile for the whole 12 hours, and that was pretty repetitive and hard. Because even in a normal race, in a marathon, you slow a bit, you speed up, you slow to get some water. I was just locked in, and it was hot.
Oh, it sounds awful.
It was. It's just horrible. People keep going, are you going to get the record back?
Yeah, would you do it again?
No.
One and done. Check.
Done. That's it. Got a world record.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Okay, so what's next?
So I have something called Jungle Ultra next, which I'm a little bit worried about. It is 5 days in the Peruvian jungle.
I know, you tried to get me to do it.
Yeah, I know. Do you want to come?
Nope.
Fill spaces. I'm going to get you. We're going to do a race.
I'll do an ultra with you for sure next year. 100%.
Okay. Yes! Well, I'll
do it.
Okay.
And then what else?
So 50-mile races in the UK. London Marathon, I'm pacing. I'm an official pacer for London Marathon. And then I'm coming to New York, where I should be getting another World Marathon major onto a belt. And I'm running New York in November. And I've got a few other bits and pieces. I've got a couple of marathons. I'm going to Sierra Leone. I'm going to North Africa to run a marathon there. And Geneva in Switzerland to run a marathon there.
Just your average.
I'm not very good at organising myself. I just put it, and then put it in the diary, and then I've got like 3 back-to-back marathons, one weekend after the other.
What are your social handles? Where can people follow you?
So on Twitter, I'm on Twitter at Susie __Chan. And on Instagram, I'm at Susie_Chan_.
Oh, wait, and then what's your website?
www.susie-chan.com.
The amazing Susie Chan.
Come see me.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye, Susie.